Job postings often say that they want someone who's detail-oriented. But what does that actually mean? Do they want someone who notices typos? Someone who polishes docs until they shine? Someone who will go feral over an inconsistent heading level? Well, yes, and more. Today, I'm going to explain what it means to be detail-oriented, why it matters for technical writers, how to build the skill, and the part nobody talks about, the downside. What detail-oriented really means. Being detail-oriented means noticing things other people don't. Tiny things, inconsistencies, patterns. Does a typo jump out at you from across the room? Do you get twitchy when a list isn't parallel? Do you feel physical discomfort when someone uses 3 different date formats on one page? Congratulations, you're detail-oriented, and probably a technical writer or editor too. But it's not just about spotting errors. It's about finishing your work thoroughly, no half-assing. Every T crossed, every I dotted, every sentence, link, and heading reviewed, reconciled, consistent. We notice when the release notes say updated endpoints and the API docs still say coming soon, and we follow up on it. Why tech writers need this skill? In fiction, details make the world feel real. In documentation, they make your content usable and credible. If your docs are sloppy, people stop trusting them. And when people stop trusting the docs, they stop trusting the product. When an engineer finds 3 typos in the first paragraph, they're going to assume the rest is wrong too. It doesn't matter if it isn't. First impressions stick. If I can't trust someone to run a spell check, I'm not going to trust them to document their API responses correctly. Details are the difference between okay and great. And editing? Editing is details. That's the job. The downside of being detail-oriented. Here's the part nobody talks about. Being detail-oriented can slow you down. You zoom in so hard on the little things, you lose sight of the big picture. You might spend 5 minutes tweaking a sentence that might get cut during review. Is that a good use of your time? You need to be able to zoom in and zoom out. Look, sometimes the deadline isn't 2 hours, and what you need is good enough. Not perfect, not polished, just done. Pro tip. This is actually a great answer to the "what's your biggest weakness" interview question. So, what would you say is your biggest weakness? Sometimes I care too much about getting things exactly right, and I have to remind myself what matters most to the project. I make a point of expanding my viewpoint, seeing the forest, not just the moss on the individual trees. You're welcome. How to build your eye for detail. I didn't learn to be detail-oriented in a writing class. I learned it in art classes. In ceramics, I spent hours burnishing clay with a spoon, searching for flaws in sculpture. In figure drawing, I didn't even know how long I spent layering charcoal until the texture of the model's skin looked exactly right. That kind of precision, that awareness, that attention, it trains your brain in the best way. Want to build a skill yourself? Here are a couple ways. First, make something. Doesn't matter what. Crochet, knit, paint, weave, draw. Because the details matter. One missed stitch in knitting, and the pattern's ruined. One skipped line in a sketch, and the whole face looks weird. Trial and error is how we learn. 2, go outside and observe. Garden. Hike. Identify plants or birds. You'll start to notice the tiniest weed, the way light hits a petal, the weird beetle that doesn't belong, the aphids on your tomato plants. You don't have to be good at it. You just need to do it. Observation is a muscle. Use it, and it sharpens everything else, including your writing. Being detail-oriented isn't about being a perfectionist. It's about being precise, observant, and intentional. It's about noticing the things that make documentation excellent or just barely usable. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you feel you got value from this content. It really helps the channel. This has been Technical Writing Uncensored. I'm Diana Payton. See you in the details.